congressional district seat. On the far end, Republican Bob Gibbs. In the center, incumbent Democrat Zach Space. And on the right, Constitution Party Representative Lindsey Sutton. They will each get 3 minutes for some opening comments, and then we will be asking questions of the candidates as we proceed through this segment. So we'll start with Mr. Gibbs. You have 3 minutes.
Thank you, Ken. It's great to be here. Great to see everybody here. I'd like to thank the PBW and the Farm Bureau for hosting this. This is democracy in action. We have a chance to hear your candidates. A little bit of introduction. My name's Bob Gibbs. I've lived up in Western Holmes County for 35 years. I'm married to my wife Jody, 34 years. She's out in the audience. We have 3 grown children. I've been self-employed since 1978 as a farmer, and I also have a small LLC and do some rentals. Back during those years, I was soil and water supervisor and worked up way through in the Farm Bureau, and was a former president of the Ohio Farm Bureau back in the late 90s. In 2002, I had the opportunity to run for the State House. I was elected to the Ohio House of Representatives, and now I'm currently a state senator in the 22nd Senate District. The reason I'm running for this congressional seat is I'm very concerned about the direction this country's headed. And simply put, I like to say we can't spend and borrow ourselves to prosperity. And the number one problem we've got right now is deficit spending. It's a risking our national security because we're borrowing money from China and other places, and we've just got to get our fiscal house in order. But along with that, there's the policies in Washington, D.C. that are creating all kinds of uncertainty, and our businesses, our employers, are kind of sitting on their hands, and they're afraid to risk capital, make investments in their businesses, grow their businesses, and hire people and get people back to work. And we've got to get the confidence back. And the uncertainty is with the deficit spending, what's interest rates going to do, inflation, deflation, whatever. Policies like cap and trade, the national energy tax, the artificially raised price of energy. Now with the recent health care, create more uncertainty. Congress left here a couple weeks ago. They didn't address the largest tax increase that's automatically going to take effect January 1st in American history. That's just uncertainty, so businesses are sitting in their hands. How we get certainty back and confidence back is we got to get our fiscal house in order. We got to roll back these massive tax increases, and we got to change our regulatory structure. That we need regulations that make common sense and economic sense, and that will put us on a clear path of firm economic footing moving forward. And the good news is there's a lot of pent-up demand out there, and businesses, if they have that confidence, they're ready to make those investments, and that's how we get out of this problem. That's how we get more revenues into all levels of government to provide the services that people expect from their government. And we just absolutely do that, because if we don't do these things, we are ending up in an economic disaster. We're risking our national security, and we're mortgaging the future for our kids. And with that, also, what will happen is we'll pass on to our kids and their kids a lower standard of living, a quality of life, and that'll be the first time in American history that we pass on to the next generation a lower standard of living. And we just can't not allow that to happen. And I don't even want to think about what could happen if we don't get this turned around. But we're in the 11th hour, and I ask your support on November 2nd to help me work with the other members of the Congress to turn this country around and get our fiscal house in order and restore that confidence. Thank you.
And now we'll have opening comments from Zach Space.
Hey guys, can you hear me okay? How you guys doing today? Good. Well, thank you for being here. Thank you for the sponsors of this event. It's important that you have a chance to evaluate us. I kind of feel like I'm in a job interview, and I'm happy to be here. You know, this is a very important election, and you will be asked to make a choice between one of 3 men, and I'm not speaking about myself. Bob Gibbs and Lindsey Sutton are both good men, good family people. They're responsible. Lindsey spent a career fighting for his country. But we have some significant differences in how we the role of government, number one. And number two, our vision for this area, for our district, our friends, our neighbors, our community. I hope that we'll have a chance to talk about some of those differences that we have regarding government, whether it's in tax policy, how the government spends its money, how we engage in international trade. I'm confident that we'll have a chance to talk a little bit about that, but I want to talk about the other issue in my opening, because I think it's really the most important thing that a congressman does. What is his or her vision for the district that he represents? We have, here in Coshocton County and throughout Ohio's 18th Congressional District, been the victims for a very long time of an economy that sees us as the first in, and last out of every recession. And we can continue to be reactive to the circumstances that we see around us and continue to lag behind the rest of the country when it comes to economic growth and vigor, or we can start thinking proactively. And I've attempted to do that. Many of you have heard about my Renew Ohio plan. Well, that's a word that describes a process. Process is one designed to get together our business leaders, our elected office holders, our seniors, our veterans, our educators, and develop a plan for this future. We'll have a chance to talk about it tonight. I'm anxious to talk. I hope we'll have a chance to talk about it. But developing the workforce, developing the necessary infrastructure, facilitating regional cooperation, and working together as a region does work. We're seeing it working now, and I'm excited about talking about it as we go on. I've been given the high sign. I'm going to have to sit down now, but we'll talk about it. When you go to the polls in less than 3 weeks, I want you to think about not just ideology. I think we see too much ideology in this country, frankly. Think about vision and a plan. Thank you.
And next, Lindsey Sutton of the Constitution Party.
Thank you, Mr. Smales, and thank the VPW for the invitation to come down here and the Farm Bureau. Also like to thank the Congressman for already doing part of my introduction for me. I'm originally from West Virginia. I was born in Harrison County, West Virginia in 1953. Raised there for 18 years. At Fallen High School, joined the United States Air Force. During my career, as it turned out, United States Air Force, I met my wife, Elaine. people from all